Hi, I'm Joanne at Groom You. Welcome to our final and third episode. And we're back with Nancy. And I think we're going to work on the lead and come and stay, and Nancy will take over from here.
Okay. So again, in order to understand how to control your dog, you need to understand how their brains work. You see people, we're talking about walking your dog down the street and the dog's pulling you. And what I see is every time I see a person walking their dog, this arm's the dog, everyone's like this with the leash. You see? And they think they have control of their dog, especially a 100-pound dog. Yeah, right. I'm a little over 100 pounds. I was just working with my daughter's rescued German Shepherd, who's almost my weight, and I was teaching my daughter how to use leverage to be able to control the dog. You do not have control of your dog if you have a straight line. So I'm going to use Joanne to help me with this. And I want you at home to get a leash or something, a rope like this. And the first thing I want you to do, Joanne, is see how I have the leash on my arm, and put it on your bare skin. So just loop it over your arm.
Just loop it?
This is the dog.
Okay, yeah.
Just put it over your arm like this.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay. Now, snug it up. Do you feel the pressure on your arm? Whenever a dog has pressure on the front of their neck or the front of their chest, that stimulates a natural instinct to pull. How did we get sled dogs? We saw that when we had them on a leash, they wanted to pull. And someone said, I have a sled. What if I put a harness on them? And by the way, everybody, the fad now is to put a harness on your dog. And then I'll put a command to it, and they will pull my sled. So we're working with their natural brain. Some dogs have it more than others, but it is always there. So this is what they're feeling. They're feeling that snugness, that pressure on the neck, even if it's not much. That's going to stimulate an instinct to pull. So they pull, so you pull your arm, just hold it straight. You pull, and then you pull back, and you pull, and they pull more, and you keep going like this, and nobody gets anywhere. Okay? Now, take the same leash and have it loose. Now, remember when I did the stop exercise that it sounds hard because it makes noise, but it's not. It's a hit and release. It's sharp. Remember, sharp is a correction. Okay. If you have it loose, and watch me do it first, I'm going to go back and forward sharp. Okay? Do you feel that? Mm-hmm. At home, you feel that? That's when the dog goes, oh, I have it all the time. Oh, okay? That gets the dog's attention. That's what you need. So, when you're walking with your dog, and the dog you have a nice loop in your line should look like this. So this is the dog, and this is the collar. Your line should be like this. Always. Loop. You decide how far away from you want that dog by letting the line go out or come in. But this is always looped. If the dog tightens that line, you have to create a loose line. You have to go forward to snap. See that snap? That's oh, and they don't like it, and they pay attention. They stop pulling. If you are consistent, and it's very, very difficult for us humans to stop our instinct is, I want to control this dog. I'm going to keep a straight leash. I'm going to keep pressure on the neck. Okay? That's normal. Very difficult for people to never do that. And when it tightens, you give it the pop. If you do that consistently, your dog will feel the pressure, so it's loose. As it starts feeling the pressure, the dog backs off, and you don't ever have to say a word. There's a difference between praise and treat for training versus behavior. The behavior that we're asking our dog to learn here is not to pull me. That's a behavior. It's not healing. It's not coming. It's not sitting. That's all training. That's not natural for a dog. But if you have a plain collar, I've worked with all the different training tools, from the pinch collars to the chokes to all of them. And what I found was I was not able, when the collar was on them, they behaved. As soon as you take the collar off, they go back to their old behavior. So that means that they didn't learn. If you have a plain collar, so you have communication, that snap, the dog doesn't want it to snap, they will just automatically keep that collar loose and they will no longer pull you.
So they should not use a retractable leash also.
The retractable leash keeps pressure on the collar. If you want your dog to you have to keep them on a line, and you want them to just run around, just get a long rope. Let them drag it. They get a little tangled, but there won't be that pressure on their collar, and you still will have control. But the retractable leash is one of the worst things you can do. The harness was made for pulling. I teach dogs to track. Track is when they're sniffing the ground, where somebody walked and they find a glove or whatever at the other end. My part is they're on a harness, a long line, and they're pulling me. That's what the harness was made for. People are getting the harnesses for their dogs because their dogs pull. Well, you just gave them a reason to pull. You put a harness on them. So that's how that works, that snap. But you have to be consistent on a loose line, and every time it tightens, you pop them. If you want to go in a different direction and they're not paying attention, a little pop, a little one of these, and they'll go, I'm coming. And it'll just become part of them. You just solved a big problem. How much time do we have?
19 minutes.
Okay. While we're talking about this, there are certain things like this where the dog actually trains themselves. And a lot of people have problems, especially the bigger dogs. Small dogs, we want them to jump up on us because we don't have to go down so low to pat them. So, okay, we accept that they're jumping up. If they're out of control jumping up, then stop and get them to behave and to accept it, that you can do. But your large dogs, you don't want them jumping up on you. You're going to knock people over. So I had German Shepherds, I've had Australian Shepherds, I've worked with every breed there is. Oh, I shouldn't say that. There are so many breeds. Nobody could work with all the breeds. But I've worked with many, many different breeds. The best way to get them not to jump up is very simply, I'm going to stand up. When the dog jumps up, you grab their feet and you go, oh, you like jumping up here? Isn't this wonderful? And the dog doesn't like being up on their feet for very long, except for poodles, they like to do that. But and they start pulling, and you say, but you wanted to be here, I'm only helping you. I'm not correcting them. I'm making them uncomfortable so that they don't want to do it anymore. So you finally let them go down, and then you go, okay, come on up. And I only had one dog. On the first time, when I said this, very smart dog, it went, "Are you kidding me? I'm not jumping up on her." Usually it takes 2 or 3 times. A real stubborn dog, a lot more. The average is about 2 or 3 times of doing that, getting them to do it. And when they jump up, even though you invited them up, when they jump up, you grab their feet again. And you go, "But you wanted to be up here. I'm only helping you." And then, voila, the dog says, "I'm not jumping up on you." And that stops the dogs from jumping up. Works really well. Okay? Okay. Now, since we have time, I'm going to teach you how to teach your dog to come. If you do exactly, excuse me, thank you, stay. If you do this exactly the way I'm saying for about a year, if you start with a puppy at about 8, 10 weeks old, and you do this until they're a year old, you will have their brains programmed to come. It saved this dog's life. I lived on 114 in North Andover, and one day she did get out, chase the cat. It was nighttime. I lived on the hill with brush. And there's 114. I ran around. She was facing the highway, going to go directly across that highway. I got down and I went, "Sassy, come!" And her head spun towards me, and she came to me, and it saved her life. I'm telling you, you cannot train a Westie. As I'm saying that, I'm also saying that I actually programmed, I said, I didn't train it, I programmed her to come, and this is how I did it. People get confused. What's the difference between training and programming? You're actually training the dog. A trained dog is a dog that does a certain performance and repeats it all the time. They're trained. They've been they're dogs that want to do it, or they're not smart enough to figure out they don't have to do it. These Westies are very, very intelligent, so they know, they learn it like this, but they know when you get in the ring, they don't have to do it because you can't do anything about it. But I have to make this dog come no matter what. And it worked. It's called programming the brain. So what I do is this. I'm going to talk about treats. Treats for especially small dogs is deadly. There are so many obese dogs out there. It's bad for their health. They get all the issues just like humans do with diabetes and the heart. And so many of our dogs are obese. More the small dogs than the big dogs, because a small dog has this size stomach. And you keep feeding that stomach, and where's that food going to go? It's going to go on their body and become fat and obese. Most of them are obese. So if I have a biscuit, if it's a small dog, and it eats a quarter of a cup a day, and I give it a small biscuit, that biscuit's equal, I broke it up, it's equal to almost 1/8 of a cup of food. It's a lot of calories. All those treats that they have out there that they're selling and making a fortune off of you, because your dog has to have treats. Why? If they were in the wild, they'd only eat maybe once or twice a week. Depends on the dog and what's going on. Our dogs eat on a regular basis every day. My dog eats once a day. They don't need more than that. But if I start giving them bits of food all day, well, God, they're going to get fat. Larger dogs, they can eat a biscuit because they get 2 cups of food a day. My dog eats 3/4 of a cup a day. So The only time I use treats is for formal obedience training. That includes sits, stays, comes, heel, formal, agility. But I'm going to figure out which, it's in this pocket. You get a goodie. Just woke, excuse me, stay. My German Shepherd would work just as hard. Well, my German Shepherd worked for praise, but they'll work just as hard for this tiny little piece as they will the whole piece. This is candy. So, to train the dog to come, you have to pay them. Westies don't work unless they get paid. They have to get paid. Huh, Sassy? Sassy, sit, sit. Sassy, sit, sit, up, sit, stay. Now I will give her a treat. See? Sit, stay, stay. Good dog. Down. She will get a piece of food. This is her treat. Tiny little piece. Good. Stay. Now I have this dog, I told you it saved her life. How much time do we have? Time?
11 minutes.
Okay. It saved her life. However, I had her running around the yard and I called her to see if I usually have food on me, but I didn't this one time. And I said, come, and she came barreling to me. For a Westie to come when I call him? Wow. Because she's programmed. But I didn't have any food with me. And I says, I'm sorry, I don't have anything. And she just looked at me, oh, really? In the past, I've said, except I was busy this day, I've said, all right, let's go in the house and get a treat. But this time I didn't because I was busy. When I called her the next time, she didn't come barreling to me. She came and peeked around the corner and then says, all right, I'll come. Maybe you'll have it this time. Well, that time I went in and got a treat for her because next time she wouldn't come. Very, very intelligent dog. Okay, so how do you teach the dog to come? Let me explain this. Excuse me, stay. When you're teaching, there are certain words that a dog knows naturally. Good, stop, thank you is a praise word, excuse me is a correction word. I learned that dogs taught me these things. Leave it. I know that they know what I said because I got the response from them. They might not have left it, but they know those words. Okay. If you want to teach a dog a word, you put good in front of that word. Good they know. So for instance, we're going to teach the word come, and I'm going to work with, if I can get my dog to stay. Would you stay there? Actually, why don't I do this? Let's control my dog. I'm going to work with your dog. Okay, Sassy, you hold my dog.
Come.
Okay.
Good girl.
All right, I want you to give me the leash on your dog. We're doing the social distancing. All right, I'm going to say the word come. Now, you never say come. It's a motion word.
Down.
Like I said, if
Go
I
down.
said to you, let's go for a walk, and you go, oh, I don't think so. But if it's a nice day, let's go for a walk. Also, come should never be used if you're going to correct it for doing something in the house or whatever. It's only used for praise. If you have to correct the dog, go get the dog. The dog, if you want your dog to come when you call them, it has to always be a pleasant experience for them. It starts with your voice. And so I'm going to say the word come, and then it doesn't matter how the dog comes to me at the beginning. I have my food ready. The food is never used to entice the dog. It's used as a payment at the end. So I don't care how the dog comes to me, it's going to be good come, good come, good come, good come. I say the come once, followed by, as the dog is doing it, Good come, good come, good come, good come. So I'm going to demonstrate. Come, good come, good come, good come, good come. Good come. Yes, good come. Good come. And okay, good dog. And then you let them go off and do whatever. You do this for no reason. You do this nice, if you could, 2-3 times a day for no reason. You don't even want the dog to come. You do this for a year. I guarantee you, your dog will come every time you tell him to ask him to come. Come, good come, good come, good come, good come. This is a dog that would never come to me at all. And look at this, she's starting to come to me. Whoops, good come. Don't let the dog get the food off the floor. A dog is not working if they're sniffing the floor. Good come, that was very good. Now let her just go off and do her thing. And see, she's checking the floor. Don't want them sniffing the floor. Come, good come, good come, good come. You see, once they realize that they're going to get food, they will come to you. You won't even need a leash. Now, notice that I didn't put the food out here and bring the dog in. That doesn't work. The idea is to teach a dog to come to your body. So when you're standing up, they will come to your body, not over there. I can't reach them over there. So when I'm standing and I say, come, good come, good come, good come. See where my hand is? It's attached to my body. Good come. And I keep putting good in front of that come. Good come. Do that for a year. I guarantee your dog's going to come when you call him. How much more time do we have?
5 minutes.
Okay, I have one more thing I could teach.
You had a danger door too. How did you do the danger door?
Okay.
That's gonna be pretty difficult.
Okay. The danger door is the door that has access to a car. I'll get my dog back. Sassy, come. Just leave her. Sassy, come. Good girl. Good. Down. Stay. Good girl. And so I will pay her because she expects to get paid. Good girl. Good girl. It does go along with the praise, but the German Shepherd may be happy with the praise, or the Golden, the Westie has to get paid. Okay. Okay, the danger door is a door that has access to a car. And I have a breed that will take off. They see a rodent out there, they're gone. Electric fences do not work on a Westie. Do not. And probably don't work on most terriers because they don't care about the pain. If there's a wild animal out there, there's an animal, they're gone. Instinct. You can't fight instinct. It's what's in their brain. They're programmed already. They'll go out. They won't come back across that fence unless there's another animal on the other side. So they're very smart. So I told you this dog got away, but that's because I didn't do the danger door training with her. Shame on me. But anyway, the danger door training is quite simple. It's any door that has access to a car. People say, well, won't they be afraid of other doors? No. They fight with it. It's just that door. And what you have to do is you have to make them afraid to go out that door. If you have a small dog, especially people that have my terriers, I teach them, I don't let them walk out the door. I pick them up, I carry them out, I put them down on the other side. That's another mental barrier to that door. What I do to train it is that if you crack open the door, especially as young dogs, they're going to want to put their nose there. They want to, see what's out there. Slam the door. It scares them. The dogs I did that to, anytime that door was open, I lived on 114 at the time, every time that door was open, my dogs actually backed away from the door. They never went through that door. With a large dog, I teach them, obviously not picking them up and putting them on the other side. It's just a double barrier. I will teach them to stay, go out the door myself, and then wait, make sure that they are staying in the store, inside. They cannot go out that door until I say, okay. And that's how I teach, so that's a safety factor. Because if they go out, there are cars all over the place. Even people that live way out in the boonies, they have their own car. And how many people have rolled over their own car, own dog? So it's a little extra safety thing.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
you were going to say something else? I
Do we
think
have
got-
much
We
more
got
time?
probably about a minute.
Okay, one more quick thing. If you want to teach the dog, like sit, you have them sit and stay. You have to tell them when it is that they can leave. People just tell them to stay or sit, and then they get up whenever they feel like it. And then they wonder why they don't ever stay. They don't stay long enough. The okay is a release word. So for instance, Sassy, come. Good girl. Sassy, Sassy. Ah, excuse me. There was a piece of food on the floor. I told you. Side. Sassy, side. Good girl. Good side. Stay. Okay? Stay. Now, she will stay there until I say those letters. That's how she knows how long to stay there for. Okay, good girl. See?
Okay, that's
All
the
right.
end of our show.
She
I hope
found the
everybody
food.
enjoyed my show. That's the final of Groom You, and I hope you enjoyed Nancy. She's a great trainer, so I hope you all enjoyed her. Thank you very much.